Hey Pua. Hi baby. Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. Yet I'm very excited for what's going to be happening over this weekend and next week, which is going to be the release of OP09. Now, why do I want to do this video is just because I want to get a little discussion and get my thoughts about some of the cards that I believe to be one of the most strongest cards in the set, and more importantly too, my favorite cards that are going to be, and I hope to get most of them in the alt art form, or you know, I'm not gonna spoil it, but also in the non-alt art form because they're only coming one printing. Yet I do want to talk about what I've been doing this past time, which is simple. I just haven't been opening as much product as I once did, um, in camera. Very important. Just because it's sometimes tiring to just do that, and if you lose the consistency, just forget about that. So yeah. Anyway, I do want to talk about five of my favorite cards that are coming out from this set. Five. And I'm going to give some honorable mentions just because I do think there's some other cards that maybe are not going to be my favorite, or maybe they're not as powerful as they seem, but they are worth mentioning, okay? I'm going to start with my number five, which is going to be the Koala. For that matter, actually, I'm going to cheat on my own list, but then again, it's my own list. So not only Koala, but also all the Revolutionary Army package that's coming in, because it's going to be mediating the number one problem that Bello Betty used to have, which is you run out of cards in hand just because you're playing everything, you're pitching it for your effect. Yet now, all these new cards, they just share their common trigger that if you and your opponent share a certain life total, you're going to be able to play them. And then some of them actually do draw, which I do believe that is fantastic. Um, so yeah, it's going to make it a little bit more consistent. It's going to make it a little, like, the downside of Bello Betty has always been such a glass cannon strategy that now it's going to be able to give you a little bit more endurance. And by the endurance meaning that if you miss your opportunity to go all in, you can still grind a little bit and maybe come back, as opposed to the old Billy Betty that once you make your like, I guess, like your game determining push, um, then you lose. You completely lose. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I do think most of them are amazing. Qual itself, the battle card, I think is fantastic. So yeah, that's gonna be my number five spot. I want to talk about my number four, and I think this is going to be one of the most controversial aspects because it's the Nami battle card. Now, I do think Nami itself is very popular, so it's a leader that they have to be very careful on what type of support it's getting. I do think the whole reason why this is needed is just because it mediates your worst matchups. Um, Again, you probably, as a Nami player, you probably don't struggle as much as like the black decks. So, and number one, you wouldn't be playing a one cost character against those black decks. So you would just be able to utilize this as counter or be a little bit more flexible in whatever, however you want to use it. Yet for every other of your worst matchups, now you are gonna have to be is gonna be mediating them, and now they're gonna have to be spending a couple resources just to get rid of this Nami, which I believe is great. It really does mediate the worst matchups. All right, I'm gonna jump straight into my number. Yeah, we're number three this time. For my number three is going to be Ben Beckman. I do think it's probably one of the most generic cards that we're gonna be getting in this in the set for red, and also one of the most generic cards in red, and I would want to say in the whole existing card pool, just because it does one thing that red has not done till this moment, which is just again, actually, if I'm wrong, please someone let me know. But it's trashing a character. So it gets around all the KO, or like the prevention of KO effects, even something like, for example, Sabo. And funny enough, not Ben Beckman, Borsalino, which I think is very, very, very thematic that Ben Beckman can get over Borsalino. So just for that reason, I do believe this has a place in my list. I'm very excited to actually play Shanks. Now to talk about my number two. Again, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because in number two I actually have two cards as well, which is going to be Russ Sanji, 7 cost, and then 9 cost Luffy. Uh, why these two is, to me, is just because they're mediating a problem that Purple has had historically, which is the boss monsters typically always had a really big downside towards them. For example, Kaido. Sorry, the Kaido is a fantastic card. Yet the downside is those 5 Dawn. They're not easy. You're not gonna get them as easily as you might as we would want. Therefore, you just gotta be very calculated whenever you utilize a card like that. Same with Linlin. 9 cost Linlin is one of the newest boss monsters that we have, and it's a fantastic card too. Yet there's also a downside towards it, such as you're going to have to pitch a card. And this, you can arguably say, yeah, you're going to get it back as a life, yet you're also healing them. So now there's one more life that you have to get through. Now, you don't really have those downsides with Rush Luffy, the 9 costs. And the whole reason why I also want to include the 7 cost Sanji is because I have seen various lists being interchangeable with them. So, for example, they'll play a full set of Sanjis, but they wouldn't play a full set of Luffy's just because that flexibility of what Sanji does, which is just resting a character, and you're able to swing at it. I also do think that's a very powerful effect. And, for that reason, they made my list. I dueled with Purple Luffy a lot. I dueled with Red Purple Luffy a lot, and I think both of them are going to be a staple in those. That's why I'm very excited for these ones, and they both have a really, really beautiful alt art, which I'm very much looking forward of getting. Okay. Now, honorable mentions, I do want to say the Perona Searcher. The new Perona Searcher mediates one of the problems that deck has had historically, which is going to be that you can only search for part of the deck, so you compromise consistency. Now, with a Perona, you're going to be able to search both your Ryuma and your Gecko Moria. The only downside to it is that most of the other card pool that you're able to search with Driller Bark isn't as relevant. So you're not going to play Absalon, I believe. You're not going to play Absalon or Dr. Hogback. Therefore, I don't really believe it's cute, it's niche, but it doesn't really push the deck towards a more meta relevant area. So yeah, that's the whole reason why I want to mention it in an honorable mention. In my honorable mention, Sorry. Anyway, my second honorable mention that I have is Yasub. As I said, I'm a Red Purple Luffy player, so Yasub is going to be an automatic inclusion. I don't know if at 4, just because it has a very niche effect, which is increasing the 1k that I don't think for Shanks is going to be as relevant. Well, actually, taking it back, yes, because you're already a 6k leader, so you're going to be able to use effects. So it does have its place in certain decks, but it's not. And also the other effect about when attacking, you're going to be reducing something for 1 cost. Is also very, very unique. Again, I don't think it's good. I just think it's there, I guess, just because. The card has counters, so worse is a 1k. Yeah, that's all I have to say. See, I don't have a lot of thoughts about it just because I do think it's just an honorable mention. And the last one that I have is actually probably one of the hardest ones that I would say, if this is the cards that I won, not only for my decks, but I just won, is going to be the Nico Robin leader. I don't want to really it always brings up this conversation about, like, why should I play this leader over anything else? Is it because I like the character and I just want to have fun? Then go for it. I think it's a great leader for that. Yet, if it's something that you're going to bring something like, for example, a last chance qualifier, or you want to bring it to Nats and you expect to do good, I think you can, as a personal challenge, that's fine. Yet, being realistic, I don't think the power level is there. This color combination, I thought it was going to be a little bit stronger than, it actually is. Yet, it has something for it, which is consistency. Now that you have that I believe that Law Searcher, you're able to utilize it as well in Nico Robin, so you're going to be able to search even the Egghead stuff. Yet, I do think the effect itself, it's kind of costly. Like, pitching a card in order to ramp, it's okay. Yet, putting this in with a way much less cost, and also has a little bit of a better top end, which is going to be the Big Mom that's going to be burning an opponent's knife and it's going to be healing you one. So, in that sense, I would also ask, like, does it mediate the problem that Pudding had, which is dealing with boards? And I believe it doesn't. I don't think Banish does enough in this game just yet to actually merit that, for us to say that, oh yeah, Nico Robin is a great leader. Yet it is one of the cards that I won the most out of this set. And now, interesting enough, for my number 1 spot, I do want to go with a card that's not even going to be a super rare, which is Gum Gum Giant. I think Gum Gum Giant, any deck that's going to be able to utilize it should, just because, number 1, it's very similar to another card that we had, and that card itself was already banned at one point, or limited to 1, which is Radical Beam. Now, Gum Gum Giant kind of mediates all the problems that Radical Beam had, which is, well, for starters, utilizing a card that you're not going to see anymore. And yes, it might get you out of an attack, yet Gum Gum Giant not only does that, but it also replaces itself, and it cycles a dead card, or probably not just a dead card, but it recycles another card, and you're able to filter, draw two more. That is in my opinion, that's no downside at all. That's like just, especially in decks like Red, Purple, Luffy, that you struggle in seeing what you need at certain points. This is going to be an aid for that. And now, you can arguably say that the cost of reducing, like minusing 2 dons is kind of high. Yet for decks that ramp as fast as, for example, Purple Luffy and Red Purple Luffy, at that point you're probably utilizing majority at 10. So yeah, that's all I want to say about OP09 for the moment. I do want to do a box opening once I have those boxes, and I'm pretty much looking forward for this. Again, I think out of everything that I mentioned, I want to say even the Perona has an alt art, Jessup doesn't, but Ben Beckman does. Nico Robin, of course, it does. Nami, it does, and Koala. So most of the ones that I said that are alt arts, hopefully I'm able to get a couple of those, and I don't stress about the Gum Gum Giant. Awesome. So I just want to end. I want to hear you guys. What is something that you hope to pull? What is something that you want to see in the set? Just let me know what's your list. So yeah, let's have the conversation. If I do, and also I do want to give another notice that I am going to be doing a little bit more videos, just discussion types. Again, opening product is just only good when the product is new, and sometimes I struggle as much as you guys do to get products, so it's very hard to bring those. Yeah, discussions, we can have those every single day if so we wish, okay? So yeah, thank you so much. If you liked my list, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, just tell me in the comments why. And again, I'm excited to hear you guys. Peace.